Dr. Vex was considered the most dangerous instructor in the Galactic Military Academy. His species, the Krillian, could extend their spinal columns to impossible lengths and possessed bone-breaking pressure that could crush starship hulls. For 17 years, he had intimidated students from 100 worlds. None had ever challenged him successfully. Until Arya walked into his advanced combat tactics classroom. Combat, Dr. Vex announced, his elongated frame coiling like a serpent, is about physical dominance. Size, strength, reach. The Krillian have conquered 40 star systems because we understand this truth. Arya sat in the third row, quiet as always. She was the only human in the entire military program, a species the Academy had only recently allowed to join after Earth's remarkable space expansion. To most instructors, humans were curiosities. Fragile. Short-lived. Weak. Dr. Vex continued his lecture, demonstrating Krillian combat techniques with brutal efficiency. His spine extended 15 feet, whipping through the air with lethal precision. Students from various species watched in awestruck silence. "Combat is poetry," he hissed. "The poetry of superior organisms dominating inferior ones." Arya raised her hand. "Yes?" Dr. Vex coiled back, amused. "That's not combat," Arya said quietly. "That's just violence. There's a difference." The classroom froze. The Zephyx students flickered nervously. Even the Krell, whose gaseous form was typically unflappable, seemed to compress. Dr. Vex's spine extended toward Arya, hovering inches from her face. "Explain, human." "Violence is what you do when you have all the advantages," Arya continued, her voice steady. "Combat is what you do when you're completely outmatched and you still find a way to win." The instructor's laugh was like grinding metal. "And what would a human know of combat? Your species still uses primitive kinetic weapons." "Exactly," Arya said. She stood slowly, respectfully. "We've always been the underdogs. We evolved on a death world where everything wanted to kill us. We learned that real combat isn't about strength, it's about understanding your opponent's weaknesses." "My weaknesses?" Dr. Vex seemed genuinely amused. "Demonstrate, if you dare." Arya nodded. "Your species' greatest strength is your extended spine. It gives you reach, leverage, and power." "Correct," Dr. Vex coiled, preparing to strike. "And it will be the last thing you see." He lunged forward with devastating speed, his spine extending like a spear aimed at Arya's chest. Every student braced for impact. Arya didn't move. Instead, she rotated her hips 90 degrees and dropped her center of gravity. Dr. Vex's extended spine passed harmlessly over her shoulder. His momentum carried his head forward, directly past her seated position. Without standing, without leaving her seat, Arya twisted her torso and crossed her arms in a precise motion. Her hands caught the instructor's extended spine at the base of his skull, the single most vulnerable point in Krillian anatomy. She applied pressure. There was a sickening crack that echoed through the chamber. Dr. Vex collapsed, his spine retracting in shocked spasms. But he wasn't dead. Arya had calculated the pressure perfectly. Injured, humiliated, but alive. The classroom erupted in chaos. Medical personnel rushed in. Within minutes, Dr. Vex was being transported to the medical bay, conscious but unable to move anything below his neck. The Academy's leadership convened an emergency tribunal. They called Arya before them, expecting her to be terrified. Instead, she was calm. "I didn't attack him," Arya explained. "He attacked me. I simply defended myself using the principles he was teaching, understanding your opponent's weaknesses." The head administrator, an ancient Vrelian who had seen 10,000 conflicts, leaned forward with all three eyes focused on Arya. "You broke a Krillian's spine. Without leaving your seat. How? Humans have spent our entire existence learning to fight creatures stronger, faster, and bigger than us, Arya said simply. We study anatomy. We understand leverage. We don't waste energy on strength, we use precision. She paused. Dr. Vex assumed his strength made him superior. He never considered that someone weaker might be smarter. A profound silence filled the chamber. The Vrelian made a decision that would change military doctrine across the galaxy. From this day forward, humans will lead our advanced combat tactics program. Not because they are strong, but because they understand something we have forgotten. He looked at Arya directly. That true combat is not about domination. It is about strategy, adaptation, and the will to survive when everything is against you. As Arya left the tribunal, students from a dozen species followed her. They wanted to learn what humans had always known: the most dangerous warriors weren't the strongest, they were the ones who refused to accept limits. And humans had been refusing to accept limits since the day they first climbed down from the trees.